In this video, we're going to talk about the top 5 things I wish I knew when I was choosing an OT school. These things may help you narrow down your list of schools to apply to and will definitely have an impact on your life, including your job and future career. So let's get right to it. When you look online in Facebook groups, on social media, or Google, you'll get the typical obvious stuff of deciding which OT school to apply to. Things like cost. Yeah, lower is better. Public schools are generally more affordable than private schools. It should be accredited, have high board exam pass rates, a good cafeteria. It's all stuff you can easily Google online, and I recommend you make like an Excel spreadsheet with all the schools you're interested in. Include in each column all these categories so that you can easily compare apples to apples when deciding between all of them, because there are a lot of OT schools and factors to consider. But let's get to the provocative stuff first. Number 5 is school on social media. This is all stuff you can research online, by the way, without even setting a foot on campus. So what do I mean? Sure, you're going to research the school website, the OT department, the requirements, that kind of thing. But to get a picture of what the students are actually doing, see if they have a social media account such as Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. More specifically, see if you can find their occupational therapy social media account. For example, my school specifically had an OT Instagram account that was run by the OT Club. They posted things like student community involvement, fundraisers, achievements, that kind of thing. If a school doesn't have an account, it does not necessarily mean that they're not plugged in or anything. It may be that they have a policy or something against using social media for PR related to the school. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Finding cool photos, videos, and posts from these social media accounts can be very helpful. Another thing you can do is getting a little more creepy, but not really, is you can find actual students with social media accounts that are posting about their actual experience as OT students who belong to a particular school. Some of these OT students are quite popular on social media and have like thousands of followers and post similar things and their experience basically on these accounts. Speaking of social media, be sure to thumbs up and subscribe to this channel and follow me on Instagram and the links below. Number 4 is location. Typically the usual stuff that students think about for location is distance from home, in-state or out-of-state, cost of tuition, rent, that kind of thing. When I say location, I want you to research the types of OT job-related opportunities that are near the school. So if you want to work in a hospital, for example, what kinds of hospitals are near the school? Also, is it urban, suburban, or rural? Why? Because if it's a more urban area, you'll probably be having more competition from other OT practitioners and new grads too. Should you decide to stay in that area after you become an OT and look for a job there. So say your goal is to work in a hospital. Look up the nearest hospitals from the school, how many there are in the vicinity, and how big the hospital is. That means how many beds does it have? If you're hoping to go into pediatrics, the same would apply. Say you want to work in a school setting. How many school or school districts with OTs are near the program you're applying to? Because if the job prospects in the area are limited, then you'll probably be having a tougher time looking for a job in that area when you graduate. Also, look into the salary for the area because not all OT salaries are equal and depend heavily on location. Some of you may be thinking, well, I'm looking to go back home after I graduate. And many of my classmates did that. However, a good number of them stayed because they were offered a job instead of going back home right away. I'm sure that might be a pretty difficult decision to make if you have family, a cat, friends back home, your partner too. So this is why location matters. Even if you're looking to be a traveler OT and work around the country, location will matter because it is likely where you'll be doing your fieldwork. Okay, let's get on with number 3. Number 3 is a deep dive into faculty. There are many reasons to research the OT faculty of the school. First of all, if some of them are well known in the OT community, then even better because you can be taught by someone who is influential in the OT world. This is important because your instructors are your mentors. They will be the ones who will inspire you. If you can get excited about taking a class from a faculty member, say who published the article in the journal in an area of interest that you're interested in, then that's totally awesome. You'll be spending a lot of time with them, so read their bios, look up their names, see what they're up to. Even if you know what type of OT you're going into, try to keep an open mind for the teachers teaching other subjects because OTs graduate as generalists and take mental health, pediatric, adult, and other required courses. Keep in mind too, you'll probably be using your instructors as references for your OT jobs. Related to faculty research is our number 2. Capstone. First of all, what is a capstone? It is the equivalent of a thesis in the graduate program. Just like the social media accounts and faculty names, the schools sometimes publish capstone projects. At my school, the school's library website published all of our capstone posters. And this is all public information you can literally look up online and see what the students were up to and what they kind of worked on and download to see the work. So if you have a specific topic area of interest, say children with Fragile X syndrome, then you can look up these topics from the school and see that it's probably a good idea to apply to the school. You'll be working on your capstone for several semesters, so this is very important, and it's something you can potentially publish and include in your resume when applying to an OT job. Last, we have the most important consideration that most people don't talk about that I wish I knew when choosing an OT school, and that's our number one, fieldwork. Fieldwork is a term used in OT school for clinicals or your internship. I'm sure you all know the importance of how an internship can help you land a job, that kind of thing, but this is why researching the fieldwork opportunities and policy are important when choosing an OT school. Here are some of the top things to consider and find out before you accept that final OK and submit the deposit for accepting the particular program. Now, you don't have to find this information out right away, and it can be kind of difficult, but it's definitely something to be keeping in the back of your mind early on. Sometimes school may list this information on their website. First is, does your school expect you to find your fieldwork placement? The key word here is expect. For example, in my school, we have a fieldwork coordinator whose job it is to find and coordinate between the school and the fieldwork site, the students' placements. Now, the word of advice is please don't spam all the school fieldwork coordinators and ask them for a list of fieldwork sites or anything like that. They are all very busy, and this is information that could be top secret, as you can imagine, especially with the pandemic. The fieldwork sites are more restricted and picky about letting students go and internship there. Why did I say expect? I know a student whose school expected them to find their fieldwork placement on their own. This can be very stressful because you don't have any experience or connections with this process. That's why there's a fieldwork coordinator whose job it is to do this, possibly even full time. Now, that's not to say you should exclude these schools that expect you to find them on your own, but keep that in the back of your mind because when the time comes, you don't want to be caught off guard. You'll have to put a lot of time and effort to find these fieldwork placements by yourself. It's a big deal because it could possibly delay your graduation if you don't find placement. Now, I want to differentiate for the fieldwork school's policy of expect versus allow. Expect is pretty much what we talked about. You expect to find it yourself. Allow is you have a fieldwork coordinator who will probably help you out and find a placement, but if you have a specific facility in mind, the school will allow you to find it on your own and have more opportunities. That's what happened to one of my classmates who shadowed at a skilled nursing facility and established good rapport with the staff. He didn't quite like his fieldwork placement that was assigned to him, so instead, with the school's permission of course, he reached out to the facility, initiated the process, and was able to do his final rotation there as a level 2 fieldwork internship. So far we talked about expect versus allow. Some last points I want to make, and this is why it's so important, is because the fieldwork opportunities can decide what your OT career may look like. For example, I was offered a job at my hospital right away because I was an intern there. Getting into a hospital can be considered more difficult, so if you choose a school that's more likely to place you at a fieldwork site that you prefer, then you won't have to work as hard getting a job there when you graduate. Now, of course, you only have so much control over these things as a student, but you can see why a school's location is important. Where you will do your fieldwork is highly likely to be based on where the school is located. Some schools do out-of-state fieldwork too, but again, this is information you should find out before clicking that accept button and making a deposit for the program. You can find out more information probably by asking some peers, OT students on social media, if they're willing to share, that kind of thing. Another tip is you can ask these questions during your school interview, such as, do you allow students to find their own fieldwork placements? I hope this information was useful to all of you. I certainly did not know some of these things when I was looking at schools and applying and consider myself to be extremely lucky. So take a break, go for a walk, pet your cat, and when you're ready, rewatch this video again when you're ready to do more deep dive research and considering these 5 things for an OT school. I'll be making more videos like this in the future, so if you don't want to miss out on them, be sure to subscribe to this channel, and good luck to you in your research.